divine feminine, divine mother, divine queen, divine goddess. I don't know if any of them are enough on their own or even all together. It's like you fit and defy every label and role imaginable. And as frustrating as that often makes my ego, I also find it the most intriguing and seductive thing I've ever experienced. You, divine feminine, are the only one that can drive me completely nuts and make me fall even more in love with you at the same time. You're the only one that can make me feel like I know exactly what's happening and also have no damn idea what is going on or what will happen next. You're the only one that can make me completely ashamed of who I am and how I've been, and also to love myself like I've never loved myself before. To feel more lovable than I've ever felt in a time when I have been, let's just be honest, the least lovable person for quite a while. There are times, feminine, that I don't know if you can hear me or feel me, but sometimes I'm just begging, mercy, mercy, please, mercy. And it makes me laugh because only I could put you through such tests. What did you used to call them? Constancy testing? Constancy tests? You've always known so much about how the human mind works. I feel like now you know a lot more about how the soul works too. You're always growing. I feel like that old thing we used to say, or that you used to say, that love grows here. I feel like I finally figured out, like, you can say that love grows here because love grows within you and it spreads everywhere around you. Because unfortunately, the situations I've been in love don't grow here. And I realize that a large part of that is because love has not been growing within me. And I remember when our separation started, like, there were so many parts of me that were so just mad. I had my mad pants on, packed my mad bag, just so many different things. And I mean, I guess the best way to put it is just to own it, that I was ashamed of myself. You were like, you've always been that person for me that I always felt safest with, that you weren't going to kick me out. You weren't going to make me leave. And I realized it was completely immature. Like, that doesn't mean that you were going to put up with my shit. And to be honest, divine feminine, like, I think that's one of the things that, oddly enough, I love about you most. You don't put up with my shit. Every person who's ever really deeply hurt me or scammed me or trapped me, like, they put up with my shit all day long because it meant that I put up with their shit. And the cycle would go on and on and on. And like, when we separated, I was mad. My ego was big. Dark night of soul just hit me. I feel like I just went through like several centuries worth of karma. It's still happening. It's still going on. Though I got, a chip on my shoulder, a block on my head, thinking, I don't need her. I didn't think of you as divine feminine at that time, but it still fits what the feeling that I had about you. That you were just so, I don't know, high caliber for me. Like, even, I swear, you could be covered in mud and dirt from the garden, and everything could be in disarray. You could go out wearing, your sweats and your hair up or a hat on backwards and still be classier than any other woman I know. Most of the men, too. And your expectations, your standards, and such. Things that a lady has, that a gentleman has, your boundaries. They just, they always put you a cut above. I remember a time when I realized that you did not see it that way. You could not see it that way. You did not understand why, let's just say, the karmics in my life weren't like all over trying to bring you into the fold, weren't inviting you to play their pirate games with me, and why it was that I kept my distance from them when I was with you. Like they saw that you don't play those games. Maybe you, okay, maybe you do sometimes. But that's also what I like about you too. It's like that song, "You're the one that I want," where she, good girl shows she can be bad too. It doesn't mean she becomes a bad girl. It doesn't mean she becomes like pirates or the pink ladies. She becomes her own person, just like you. But I did. I got a chip on my shoulder and I convinced myself that I don't need her. I can go get that anywhere. I went into the old, I want to say my daddy's, my pappy's old ways of talking about it. All you got to do is have enough money and enough time in the sack. That's the kind of masculinity I was raised with. And you know what? I leaned in and jumped into something that was almost just like that, but you were the only one out of all the ships of pirates around me who never did tell me to end it, but you did make it clear that you knew I wouldn't be happy. And what I love is that you never said what we both know is true, that I'd never be happy with anyone else after all that time with you. You're too humble to say something quite like that. But you've hinted at enough things, and it's not that I even needed the hint. I was already well aware. But I did. I really did convince myself, and I let other people add in on it. Got into drinking and partying and just let myself believe that a shit sandwich was not a shit sandwich. That it was a beautiful prime rib, like those kinds we used to have on special date nights. I sure miss those times out with you. Just the simple things. I realize, you used to always say those simple things, the small things, they matter more. And it's not that I didn't value them before, but I really value them now because all those little things, they added up to some of the biggest things in my life. And now I can see too, as towers domino around me and Jenga around me, that a lot of little bad things add up too. And they add up to bad things. And lately I feel like, you know what I feel like? I feel like for a long time in our separation, the whole universe was coming down on me and showing me all the little bad things that I did that added up. The whole universe except for you. You went on for so long reminding me of the little things I do that are good. And not just things for you, all sorts of things. You kept me going for so long, longer than I ever would have thought that anyone would have had the interest in doing. But, coming from you, it was like, of course she does. She always has. If I were to believe it from anybody, I'd believe it from you. And I did for a long time, till the karmics got me into binds that I wasn't sure how to get out of. Mostly over stupid little things. They had, their evidence pile. When there's so many of them, even if you know you could get free, it's exhausting to try, especially when you're physically fighting on your own and you're still fighting your own inner demons. You know what's crazy though, feminine? I feel like for a long time I never would have thought that you could have known what that was like until recently when you made it clear. But you do, and you have. You were just humble enough not to talk about it very often, very publicly, until recently. Now I feel like you kind of joined the universe in showing me all the little things that I've been doing that have not been great, that have been adding up, but it's like somehow you found a balance of doing that while still showing me how full of light I still am. You know what, feminine, you know what I think about a lot? I remember when we first kind of made our relationship official. And I remember how my boss and my friends and my family and so many other people told me, 2 days in, a week in, 3 weeks in, 2 months in, 6 months in, a year later, they told me how happy I seemed. And I always said, and they'd always ask me, who was I with? And it was you. And I think about that now, like, none of the karmics from my past ever earned that, and the one I've been trapped with certainly never has. And it feels like the universe is bringing me people that are telling me that I look like shit and I look miserable. And the thing is, I mean, my ego could take it to a space of being upset with you or with them, but the truth is that's been happening since day 1, day 7, day 30, day 90, day 120 that I've been away from you. I don't even attribute it to the karmic. I mean, she's not exactly going to win any social awards. And I'm not happy with her, but I don't think that it's her. I do love her. You know me. I love everyone to a certain degree. But she's not you. She's not you. I feel in many ways like she wants to be, but it's not her. I feel like you said something once about, like, if you're copying someone else or you're placating or you're pretending to be someone that you're not, you can never be sure that the other person really loves you like who you really are because you're not really being who you really are. And I feel like somehow feminine over this separation, I feel like you were already incredibly you, for lack of a better way to put it. And it's like you've become more you, but in becoming more you, it's like you're still in many ways the you that I remember, that I cherish, like all the important core points are there, that you've also become a completely different person, you know? And I love that because I know that in my own karmic cycles and the things that I've known, I never really expected people to change much or to grow, and people certainly never gave me the space to change much or grow. Nobody except you. And I swear you're the only one that would not only expect me to grow and change, that you will push all of my buttons until I do it. And not in the ways that anyone else does it. It's like you're in complete control and yet you show that you obviously have zero control. It's like you know just the right buttons to push, but it's not the buttons to make me angry, it's the buttons that make me feel, you know, make me feel some sort of way. Just hit me in just that unexpected way. And you're the only one I know that, like, you could do some of the things in the world that would just, I know if it was someone else, it would drive me mad. But with you, like, I can see most of the time it's righteous. A lot of the time it's funny. And the rest of the time, I mean, I can't say there are not moments that I get upset with you, but somehow Spirit always comes in and drives it home that one, you're usually just the messenger. Don't shoot the messenger. And two, that I really did need whatever that thing was, lighting a fire under my butt or doing things like that. And what's funny is I can remember being the jerk who tried to do that to you. And I can see that, like, the old you is upset about that, like, communicate with me, don't go about that way, it's manipulative. And I see the new you who totally wouldn't stand for that bullshit. But you also see the humor and find gratitude in the fact that I did that at all. You find more love for me in it. And you grow and you grow and you grow, but you never lose that core that I've always loved about you, that I feel like you saw before in yourself, but you didn't really embrace it or accept it. And now you're like so you, and you're like all the things, like the, what do they call them, the decathlon champ. You're a good mom, you work hard, you can play by yourself or with others. You don't always play well with everyone because you're not a placater and you're authentic, though you generally get along with most everyone. You can even get along with people that you've made very clear that you do not like. And there's not many people that go on that list, but they know who they are. You make sure of it. I remember there was a time, and I eventually found out it was the karmics doing it to intentionally, like, try to punish me and scare me and shit, but they'd had some people stealing some stuff from me, and I thought maybe it was you. Like, I'm used to that sort of behavior from, like, unhealthy exes and stuff like that, but, like, I didn't expect it from you, and there's just this voice in my head that was like, your divine feminine ain't like that in the first place. But if she was going to do that, she'd make sure that you would know it was her. Like, she'd want you to know it was her. If she's going to kind of lower herself to such piratey behaviors, she would want it to be known. And then I thought about what I've experienced of you in all these many lifetimes, and I knew that that was true. And that's part of how I knew that people were lying to me. It's part of how I learned the truth, was by remembering that I know you. I don't know you as well as you know me. And I definitely don't know you as well as you know you. But I do know through our twin flamey history that I know you better than anyone else knows you. Especially when I get my own ego out of the way. And that's where I get to this point where I'm like, what am I fighting it for? What am I fighting it for? It's obvious to everyone. There's not a darn person like you. You're the talk of the town. And everyone knows I'm the apple of your eye. And no matter how much I protest, can't hide that I clearly do love you to the moon and back. And that's where I get to this point where I'm like, why am I fighting it? What am I doing? What am I doing with my life? Yeah, I got more money, and I got people that'll stick around as long as I got money, but what's that worth? Like, there's not much of anything in my life that I'm doing that brings joy to me. It's a couple of things, but, every time I think about them and I look at them, they're things that I either got from you or made with you or learned to do because of you. Like, it's all connected to you. All roads lead back to you anyways. And even amongst our fighting and wrestling, I still find myself wanting to surrender, wanting to submit. And so, I can't say I'm ready to tell you face to face, but I'm sending this message out into the universe because I'm telling Spirit, like, I'm ready to give you the gift of my submission. Because only Spirit and only you could really appreciate what a gift that is and always has been.